Host defenses. This is the 5th Builder lecture. In this Builder lecture, I'm going to be discussing a few different things. First, we're going to discuss adaptive immunity. There are 4 types of adaptive immunity. The first is the active immunity. This type happens after our microbiota has already come in contact with the pathogen. So it's already seen it, already knows what it's about. It's experienced it before. So in order for this to happen, you've had a previous infection with this pathogen. This can occur after vaccination, typically. It lasts longer as far as your immunity goes. You'll go longer without being able to get infected by these pathogens if you come in contact with them again. It can happen naturally or artificially. The artificial way, of course, would be the vaccination process that I just stated. Another type of adaptive immunity is passive immunity. Passive immunity is transferred from one person to another, not produced by one's own immune system. The way this is done is typically from mother to child. Antibodies from the mother to baby in utero, or antibodies that are received through breast milk. Anytime, it's quite interesting, really. If, a baby is sick or something, when, you're a mom, you automatically, innately, kiss your baby's face and stuff like that. Well, when you kiss your baby's face, your saliva actually mixes with any kind of microbes or pathogens that could be on the baby, and in that process, your body is getting hold of those pathogens and sending signals, and your body actually sends signals to your breast to create breast milk with antibodies specific for those pathogens. It's quite interesting, really. But anyway, you can also receive passive immunity through injection to donor. They usually take, it's kind of like what happened during COVID-19. They actually were successful with taking antibodies from people that were exposed to COVID but didn't actually get sick, or they took them from people that had already been sick. I can't remember how it was, but I think it was they took them from people that did not get sick with COVID but were close to somebody with COVID. So they already, when they tested them, they had some type of antibody in their body that prevented them from getting COVID-19. So that's how the injection donor would work. They would obviously they do some kind of process to heat the blood up and stuff to kill any pathogens. So if somebody had HIV or hepatitis or something, it would be killed in that process before it's injected into somebody. So no worries about that. That was my first thought when I read that. So I just wanted to share that information. It provides immediate protection, but it's typically not very long lasting. Most of the time it only lasts for maybe possibly 2 to 3 months. It does not last long at all. It is always artificially done when it comes to the injection donor part, at least. Next, we have natural immunity. This occurs naturally without any intervention in day-to-day life around everyday microbiota. It's just something that naturally happens within your body. It's naturally occurring, and it lasts long. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is here. It's just a natural occurrence, though. Adaptive immunity, the next one is artificial. Artificial is acquired immunity through injections. This can be vaccines. It can also be live cells through serums. Pre-made antibodies are made in a lab. This is also a temporary solution to providing immunity. It does not last very long at all. Next, we have immunotherapy. Immunotherapy is artificially passive vaccines. They're first used in horse serum filled with antitoxins to prevent tetanus. They were also used to cure those exposed to diphtheria. There's an example in this wonderful movie on Disney Plus, if you have it, by the way. It's called Togo. It's about the journey from Anchorage to Nome in 1925, led by a team of sled dogs. There was originally in the 90s, I think it was, a movie that came out. It's animated, called Balto. So my whole life I always thought Balto was the dog that was the biggest reason why that antitoxin made it to the place it was supposed to go. But it was actually a dog called Togo. Yes, there was a team of over 100 and some dogs, but Togo did the majority of that trip by himself. And he doesn't get enough recognition. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Now they're made differently. They're made with IVGs now, which are immunoglobulin taken from pooled blood from human donors via injection. The preferred method to prevent stuff like measles and hepatitis A, if there's a known exposure. So if you know for a fact that you've been exposed to measles or hepatitis A, then the IVGs are going to be the preferred method. Actually, I think I misspoke earlier when I was talking about the HIV thing. This would be the case where they do a certain method of, like, I think they heat it up some way to a certain temperature where it actually would kill off, HIV or anything like that you could expose someone to by doing a blood-to-blood donor injection. Anyway, the IVGs, they'll last for 2 to 4 months. They were used during the COVID-19 outbreak. Like I said earlier, they got copies of good antibodies and injected them back into people to hopefully prevent them from getting COVID, or if they did get COVID, the body would already recognize that and it would already be ready and waiting to create things to destroy it. I'm going to discuss the COVID-19 vaccine now, and turning with that point. The COVID, when it happened, it kind of threw everybody off. Like, one day my kids were in school, it was normal, it was fine earlier that morning, and next thing you know, they were getting sent home from school because the outbreak had started. Ever since then, the world's just been crazy. There was a new type of vaccine created, actually 2 of them. They were the first 2 mRNAs ever created, and then the third one was a adenovirus, which means it does not cause disease. It contains a DNA code of the spike protein that COVID is made up of. And COVID is also known as the SARS-CoV-2. It invades cells of the human body but causes no harm. The body recognizes the spike proteins and will alert the immune system in the body if it ever encounters the matching spike protein. So, as I stated once, if they are ever infected with COVID, the body will already know what to do about those spike protein viruses. Vaccines were administered before they were approved by the FDA. I don't know how many people remember that, but they were not, and I still don't think they're all fully approved by the FDA, but when desperate times call for desperate measures, you got to do what you got to do. There's still a widespread fear of the vaccine. A lot of people still are afraid to take it, but that is what it is. What makes adaptive immunity so special? Well, it has specificity. This means it's extremely specific. Like, chickenpox antibodies will only build immunity to chickenpox. They wouldn't build immunity to measles or mumps or rubella, anything like that. They wouldn't be affected by it. They can zero in on one single invader during infection. That doesn't mean that's the only thing they will, go in and zero in on, but they have the capability of doing so. Another thing that makes it special is memory. Lymphocytes will remember the invading microbe upon its entrance immediately, and attack will ensue. They remember it very well, so the minute it comes back in there, they're going to be like, hey, I know what this is. Excuse me. The other thing that makes it special is diversity. This refers to there is always going to be a cell that can notice and respond to any antigen, whether it's foreign or normal. Another thing is inducibility. It only reacts when triggered by the antigen. Then we have clonality. This is copy and paste, essentially. Then we have, it makes mass productions of millions of cells that can do the same thing. Copy, paste, copy, paste. What else makes it special is tolerance. It does not react against self-antigens. Self-antigens are antigens that already exist in the body. They're not harmful. Self-antigens. Antigens that are already located in the host, as I said, are self-antigens. They're not attacked by the immune system. The immune system tolerates it. It does not make the host sick, and the immune system can become confused sometimes, and it will actually start attacking the body when it's not supposed to. This is what results in things called autoimmune diseases such as lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, some stuff like that. Then you have the non-self antigens. They have markers on cells or tissues that enter the host. They're not already present, they're not recognized by our immune system, and the immune response will be initiated to destroy these pathogens. Defenses, most important, the skin. The largest organ of the body is the skin. It makes the integument system, which includes the hair, nails, oil glands, and sweat glands. The skin also produces a substance called keratin. Keratin is also in your hair. It basically is a shield that keeps cells protected from damage. Most microbes cannot get past this defense to enter the skin. That's why skin is such a tough, thing to get through, and through cutting it and tearing it can they get through. The skin has a high salt content, which is hard for most microbes to live on, and antimicrobial lipids are present on it as well. over here to the right, we have other things to look at, but I hope you have a great day.